listening to the Author Inside You podcast, a weekly podcast designed to motivate you to finish writing a book, choose a publisher, and have your work build an audience. Keep listening if you're looking to get propelled into the next chapter of your life. And now, it's the Author Inside You podcast with your host, Leah and Matt Rafferty.
Hello and welcome to the Author Inside You podcast. I'm Matt Rafferty.
And I'm Leah Rafferty.
Joining us today is Enrique Voltaire, author of How to Attract Women If You're Not That Attractive. Enrique attended Queens College and has 2 master's degrees, English education and educational leadership. Enrique is now happily married and a high school English teacher. Welcome, Enrique. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Matt. Great to be here.
So you have an interesting title for your book. How did you come up with the title?
Oh, well, I tried to keep it as simple as possible. I mean, I was originally thinking how to attract women if you're ugly, and then I tried to tone it down a bit and said, wait, nobody's really ugly. They're just not that attractive. So I just kept it, how to attract women if you're not that attractive. So there you go, because if you're not that attractive, there's hope for you to become
well, good. Well, what was the reaction from your family and friends with the title?
They laugh. They get a great kick out of it, and once they hear the title, they know what it's about already, and then guys are eager to read it.
Well, I'm sure it puts people at ease, like you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just got to ask about the research. What kind of research did you do, and how successful were you?
I would think I'm very successful. I mean, it all started out. I was lonely. I was a 22-year-old virgin, and couldn't get a girl to save my life. And I had a thought. I said, why can't I get a girl? What can I do to get a girl? And then the next thought was, what am I good in? And the answer was school. And I said, why am I good at school? And the answer is, well, all I do is study, and then I apply information, and I do well. So I said, you know what? Why don't I just study all the dating books I can find? And I went to Barnes & Nobles. I studied all the dating books I can find, and lo and behold, I started dating, and 18 months later, met the woman of my dreams and got married.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. So there I am. I think I'm fairly successful.
Yeah, well, that's
I agree.
So
Yes.
You found your gift, and you used it to your advantage to figure out how to help yourself. I think that's pretty interesting.
Since I read so many books on how to date women, a lot, and I've watched a few shows. I mean, I used to watch Mystery, who was on VH1 showing guys how to get girls, and all the guys who would give tips on how to date. I mean, you watch movies like Hitch, you got Will Smith, then you got like Ryan Gosling, and I'm thinking those guys don't need help. Those guys, how do those guys how could they advise people on getting dates? Look at them. And I'm like, all right, I'm not that good looking. Let me write a book for guys who aren't that good looking and show them how to, attract women if you're not that good looking.
Well, for the record, you are nice looking.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So tell us about writing the book. What was the process like writing the book?
Well, I throughout my life, like I told you, I had to read books on how to date. That's when I discovered that I can read books to do anything. I read books to learn how to play basketball, learn how to teach, so on. So I got the idea, I want to write a book. So where do I start? Well, let me get a book on how to write a book. So
Good start.
That's how it starts. And I listened to I got some of Brian Tracy's advice online, and he said just write it out on using simple pen and paper. And then I got more advice from James Altucher, who said, these are all from podcasts. I don't know these guys personally,
right?
But he gave the advice of just have your 10 chapters and divide your 10 chapters and just start filling it out. And then there came the book Authority by Nathan Barry, and then I took a great course by Paul Jarvis and Jason Zook called Finish Your Damn Book. And so after listening to all those courses, I said, let me just finish this damn book. I typed it on everything on Word, and a student who was from my school, I have him on my LinkedIn, over the past summer, I saw that he published the book. And I was thinking, wait, a student published the book before me? And,
what's wrong here?
Instead of getting bitter, I called him up, and he was honored. I invited him out to lunch, and I said, how do you do it? He said, createspace.com. It's very easy. And I said, all right. And he motivated me. He said, let me know if you need any help. And the rest is history. I went to create space and got it done.
That is excellent. So with the 10 chapters you were talking about, the idea is that you split your topic into 10 chapters, 10 logical subjects, and then that way you already know that you just have to do 1/10 of it to get one chapter done. And then, is that the idea of the 10 chapters?
Yes. Well, I was thinking how to attract women. I just wrote down everything that I knew, and ideally you're supposed to do this on Post-its, and then you're supposed to just put it all in a whiteboard and organize it. And before I had it all organized, I noticed a theme over here that I could divide this into 10 rules, and that seemed to be the way to divide it. And I divided it into 5 things to do if you're trying to attract women, and 5 things that you shouldn't do if you're trying to attract women. So that's how the organization came about.
Great, very cool.
And what about your book cover? It's an interesting book cover.
Oh, thanks. I designed it myself. And,
Congratulations, that's cool.
Thank you. And
It's nice.
just a tip for new authors: if you want to create a book cover, just look up best book covers 2017, your year, and I see you see a bunch of art, and then you just apply your own flavor to it. So that's pretty much what I did.
Well,
Great.
thank you. That's good advice.
And then you just
You're welcome.
you used Photoshop, or?
I did it on. I'm old school, so I did it on Microsoft Paint.
Oh, excellent! No, that's great.
Thanks. And then I hired somebody on Fiverr, Fiverr.com.
Sure.
And said, "Hey, this is my Paint version, and I wanna create a book cover. Can you just make this look a little more professional?" And it looked pretty much like the way I created it on Photoshop. And I had to tell him a few times, "Hey, can you make it a little nicer? I mean, mine's the draft." And after a few
Step it up a little bit.
I said, "Okay, that's good enough for me."
Oh, that is great.
Oh, it does look very nice. Yeah, it's good. I like the idea with the glasses and everything.
It's just really neat
Thank you very much.
that you had that Microsoft program and you could use it, and it came with your computer, and you just took the tools that you had and you made it from that, instead of going out and having to buy something expensive and try to figure out how to use Photoshop or something. That's great that you can do that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it's the I learned the program when I was in 8th grade, 2 decades ago, and it's the only program I know how to use. So
Well, it works for you.
Right.
Yeah, it works.
I think building up to Valentine's Day would be a great time to be out promoting your book.
Oh,
and you could probably get on some radio stations and some local TV shows probably. Because
thanks for the tip.
Yeah, they're always looking for something unique to talk about, when it comes, because that's like the dating time, the beginning of February.
Also, some authors have told us that they went to their local library and discussed it with them, and the library, bought it, and then maybe you could even have someone do a program at your library.
I have my book in the local library. The thing is
great.
that I do a lot of SAT tutoring in the local library.
Sure.
So it's kind of odd to say, I'm an SAT tutor. By the way, let me teach you how to pick a woman.
Yeah. I guess that would be
really
awkward.
Makes sense to change the name.
Yeah. On Wednesday evening,
I'm
on Wednesday evening, I'm teaching 2 courses: how to ace the SAT and how to date a woman.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I teach them after they graduate.
Well, what about editing? Who helped you with editing?
Well, since I'm an English teacher, I had another fellow English teacher edit it. But that's a long process, because I wrote it, and then I edited it myself, and then I gave it to my friend to edit, who's another SAT tutor and English teacher. And he pointed out all my mistakes, which I couldn't believe I had so many. And then I took another 3 months to redo it, and then I gave it back to him, and he took another a few days to edit it, and then he lost the physical copy of everything he edited.
Oh my gosh!
And and I was distraught, and I gave it to somebody else. But what happened 3 weeks later is that the rental company that he rented a car from called and said, "Hey, we found that book that you lost." And
that was nice.
Okay. Yeah, that was nice of an enterprise. So he gave the book back to me, and I edited it again. Maybe that's like the 3rd or 4th time. And then once again, I hired somebody on Fiverr to give it one more check. And then I put it out there, and I still look at the book. I can still point out maybe 3 to 5 errors, and it still nags at me. But it's nice to say I published the book instead of saying I'm still working on it, trying to make it perfect.
Right. But you can still make the changes on Create Space. We've been told that you can go through and just make another version. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Do I lose all my reviews and everything, or?
No, they said you get to keep it because there's some people who have like 12 or 15 or 20 versions of their book, and it all just remains the same. But you better double check before.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
responsible.
But yeah, I saw you had a lot of good reviews. That's got to be very helpful on Amazon.
This man, I think his name was Jesse. He ran a contest, and he said, "Okay, all new authors, we're gonna have a contest. It's called Amazon Review Contest. Review as many as you can. Everybody get ready to enter." So I entered the contest, and I said, "Here's my book. Everybody, please review it." I bought a few books, and I reviewed their books, and that group was responsible for getting me a lot of reviews.
Oh, excellent! Right. I saw on YouTube you have a book trailer, like an animated book trailer. So how did you have that made? And tell me about that. Like, who did the drawings for that?
Yeah, I get a lot of my work done on Fiverr. I mean, I can't do it all by myself, so I think I went on Fiverr and I put down create a custom order. And my custom order was, I'm creating this book. This is the concept that I have. So the story that you see on the trailer, that's what the idea I had, that a guy goes to a girl and says, and he's rejected, and then he goes back and he does Google search and he reads a lot of books, then he comes back, well dressed and and they live happily ever after.
Right.
And replying to my post was a guy by the name of CanvasBot. That's CANVAS_BOT. And when he replied to me, he said, I like the concept, I could do it. And I saw his previous work, and I said, wow, this guy's great. And I think it was only $80. And I said, this guy's a steal for what he's doing. Yeah. So he edited it once, and then he said, how do you like it? And I said, well, I'm shorter than the girl. Can you make the guy a little shorter than the girl? And he said, yeah, no problem. And it was great. So
wow.
I'm one of the cheapest guys you'll meet. So I really try to penny pinch and save as much money.
No, that's great.
He was a bargain.
So then I didn't realize that on Fiverr you can like put out a project saying I'm looking for someone to do this, and then people bid on it, as opposed to just I thought you just had to go there and look for somebody who could,
Yeah, I thought so too.
That's
good to
know. There's a little button saying create a custom post. Yeah, post the job, and that's one way to get workers. And it's good that when you say post a job, you'll get a lot of responses, but the best response will be the person who actually read your post and said, hey, I know what you're doing, and here's what I can contribute, compared to I've done a lot of work, hire me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so just a lot of people just do the same response to every post.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people give a generic response, and some people say, this is what you're doing, and this is what I can do for you.
Oh,
Great.
Okay.
Well, that was a really good idea, the trailer. That was very, very good. It was fun to watch, too.
Creative, that's a great idea.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it.
So there's a marketing tool you're using also.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I read a post by Ryan Holiday, one of my favorite writers, and he said the best thing to do after you write your first book is write a second book. And he just went into detail saying, he didn't sell a lot of books until his third book, and Robert Greene didn't sell a lot of books until his third book. And somebody commented, Paul Miller, and he said, look, you have to remember that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, and just keep putting content out there, and hopefully I'll be successful in the long run.
So how about advice for other people who are writing books right now?
I think the best advice I can give is just finish the book. I mean, a lot of times when I was starting out writing the book, I was thinking, do I write it on Word, or do I write it on I think Scrivener?
Sure.
And the best thing to do was just write it on whatever you're most comfortable with. So I chose Word. And in writing the story, another piece of advice is you don't have to, especially if it's nonfiction, you don't have to go from beginning to end. You can just, like I said, you organize the book. Once you know all the sections, just pick a section and finish it. And once you're done with all the sections, then you can finish it. Then you can
sure, make sure it flows and right.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, don't worry about publishing it until you have it done. Once you have everything done, you can hire people to do the rest for you. You can hire someone to do the ebook version, which I did, and you can hire someone to, hire someone to show you how to use CreateSpace, which is pretty simple. That you don't really need to hire it. It's pretty self-explanatory. And one thing at a time, you can hire someone to do the cover, and you don't have to pay a fortune for it. The resources are available. A great book I read was The Miracle Morning by Steve Scott, and that gives great advice on how to put the book out there. But yeah, just get the book done. That's the most important thing, and then just chip away at the rest of it, the cover and etc.
Right, that's great. I think what you said there, and you kind of glossed over it pretty quickly, but I think a good thing that you said was write the book and then worry about publishing it. Don't worry about publishing it as you're writing it, thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Get it done.
Yes.
Figure it out if you're happy with it, and then worry about publishing.
Yeah, I mean, it could be poorly written. They'll still publish it because it's self-published.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. And what about, how can our audience members purchase your book?
It's on Amazon. That's what I decided to sell on. So you would just go on Amazon and just search How to Attract Women if you're not that attractive, or search my name, Enrique Voltaire, and only 2 books will come up: the hard copy and the 99-cent electronic copy, which I should probably raise the price on, but I'm too lazy to. But whatever, I'll leave it there until
you log into Amazon sometime and change it.
Yes, but some people say that's the way to go, to have it 99 cents or lower. They say
I'm selling
that's
more when it's 99 cents, and a lot of times, like I've read, when I publish a book, my goal it's not to make money. I mean, I don't think I'm going to make a lot of the money in the book, but the goal is to get your story out there. Sure. And if you help 1 million people, the money will come eventually. So even if it's 99 cents, I'm just focused on helping as many people as I can.
Good.
Right, that's great.
Good.
And then how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to drop you a line?
Well, they can contact me through the website, enriquevoltaire.com. The contact form will come up there. Or you can email me personally at enrique@enriquevoltaire.com. And like I said, I'm not getting a lot of email right now, so if you have a problem, I'll probably get back to you.
So who's your target audience?
Well, when I wrote the book, I'm thinking about people who are just like me. I mean, I'm Filipino, which is Asian. Well, it was before, now Pacific Islander. But, we have a culture in which we value education and we value family. And I was never really taught how to interact with people. So, like I said, I'm an SAT tutor. My book is dedicated to the kids who can do well in school, but socially they're a little confused. And what my book does is that it teaches you that it's okay to go up to strangers and start conversations and ask girls out. You don't have to be the guy who looks at a girl and has a crush and keeps that crush for 3 months and 6 months and a year and then gets rejected in the long run. It's okay to show your interest right away. Ask a girl if she needs a ride home or she wants to get lunch. And if she rejects you, it's okay. Just move on to the next girl. I mean, it happens. A lot of time what happens is that, one girl rejects you, you move on to another girl, you're dating the other girl, and the girl who rejected you is thinking, I'm probably missing out on something by rejecting this guy. So, yeah, that's who it's dedicated to. To all the guys who are having trouble talking to girls, if I can do it, you can do it.
Oh, very nice.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Enrique, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you and learning about your journey.
Oh, thank you very much, Leigh and Matt. I wish you the best of luck on the podcast. It's great.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So the exciting news is that the author inside you is going to have a contest on our Facebook page.
Be sure to join our Facebook group in order to be entered for the contest. The drawing is Wednesday, October 11th, 2017.
Until next time.
Right on.
Thank you for listening to the Author Inside You podcast with your host, Leah and Matt Rafferty.